Today we're tackling a topic that's near and dear to my heart, couch co-op games. We're going to be looking at a bunch of recommendations from different gaming articles to help you find the perfect game for your next game night.
Oh, yeah. There are tons of great games out there these days, from platformers to puzzles to brawlers. There's seriously something for everyone.
First up is Super Mario 3D World for the Nintendo Switch. You know those classic Super Mario games? Well, this one's got that familiar feel, but with a cool semi-3D style.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting about that semi-3D style? It actually really changes the co-op experience. Because the camera is fixed, it kind of forces you to explore every corner of each level together. It's a different kind of challenge compared to Super Mario Odyssey, where you were running all over this huge open world.
Right. And of course, you can't forget about the cat suits in 3D World. Who doesn't love running around as a cat?
Plus, there's 4-player co-op with individual scores. So you can work together, but also have a little friendly competition. What do you think? Does that add to the fun or just lead to chaos?
Probably a bit of both, to be honest. It definitely makes the teamwork a little more complex. You might find yourself accidentally bumping your partner off a ledge or racing to grab a power-up first. It's all part of the fun, though.
Okay, next up is a game that, I gotta admit, totally surprised me. Get ready for this. Cult of the Lamb. Now, I know when you hear cult, you probably don't think, oh, that sounds like a fun co-op game. But trust me, this one is different.
Really? I've heard good things about Cult of the Lamb, but I didn't even realize it had co-op.
Yeah, you basically team up with a friend to build your own cult, gather followers, and even go on these crusades to fight rival bishops. It's this really weird mix of dark humor and strategy. And the shared screen co-op during those crusades can get pretty wild. Oh, I bet. Shared screen co-op can be a recipe for disaster, especially when you've got combat and resource management all happening at the same time. Do you think it adds to the challenge or just makes it frustrating?
Oh, it definitely makes things more interesting. You really have to communicate with your partner and coordinate your moves, otherwise you'll get totally overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But there is that revive mechanic, so if your partner falls in battle, you're not constantly having to restart. It's kind of like a test of your friendship, Can you work together under pressure, or will your cult crumble because you can't agree on anything?
Haha, yeah, that's a good point. Co-op games can really reveal a lot about your relationship with whoever you're playing with.
All right, let's switch gears for a sec and talk about a game with absolutely stunning visuals and some seriously challenging platforming. Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze.
Oh, yeah, I remember that game. The environments are so detailed, it's like art.
They really are beautiful.
Yeah.
But be warned, this game is not messing around when it comes to difficulty. The platforming is very precise. You really have to understand Donkey Kong's weight and momentum. It's definitely different from the floaty jumps you see in a Mario game.
Yeah, that's true. The way a character moves can totally change the feel of a platformer. Like Mario, he's all light and agile, but Donkey Kong is much heavier and more grounded, so I imagine the co-op experience is very different too.
Exactly. You and your partner have to be in sync to beat these levels. One wrong move, and you'll both be falling into the abyss. But that's part of the fun, right? That feeling of accomplishment when you finally nail a tough section together.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing quite like overcoming a challenge with a friend, even if there's some yelling and controller throwing involved.
Now, if you're looking for something a little less intense, maybe Rayman Legends is more your style. It's got this quirky kind of abstract look, and it's all about pure fun.
Yeah, Rayman Legends is definitely more on the whimsical side.
It's all about running, jumping, and collecting those little lums.
Yeah.
And the controls are a little less precise than a game like Mario or Donkey Kong.
So it's a bit more forgiving for people who aren't platforming experts.
Exactly. You don't have to be a master to enjoy Rayman Legends. You can just pick it up, play with a friend, and have a good laugh.
Yeah, sounds like a good option for a more relaxed gaming session. But if you're in the mood for something a little more intense, we should talk about a classic, Halo. The Master Chief Collection.
Oh, yeah. For all you Xbox players out there, this is a must-have. Reliving those legendary Halo campaigns with a friend. There's nothing quite like it. The gunplay, the set pieces, the level design, it's all top-notch.
And what's cool about the Master Chief Collection is that you get so many different experiences. Every Halo game has its own unique flavor. From the tight corridors of the original Halo, combat evolved to those wide-open environments in Halo 3.
Yeah, it's a great way to introduce someone to the Halo universe or just relive those classic campaigns with a new perspective. Interesting that that Halo Infinite, the newest Halo game, doesn't actually have couch co-op. What do you make of that?
That's a weird choice, right? Couch co-op has always been such a big part of the Halo experience. Maybe they'll add it in a later update. Or maybe they're just focusing more on the online co-op side of things.
Yeah, who knows? Only time will tell. But for now, we can still enjoy those classic Halo campaigns together on the couch. Maybe the lack of co-op in Infinite will even inspire some people to dust off the Master Chief Collection and revisit those awesome missions.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Sometimes limitations can lead to some cool discoveries.
Speaking of discoveries, let's move on to a game that's both spooky and charming. Luigi's Mansion 3.
Oh yeah, I've played a little bit of that one, but I haven't had a chance to really dive in.
You're missing out. It's this perfect blend of puzzle-solving, exploration, and ghost-busting action. And the co-op mode is so much fun. One player controls Luigi, and the other controls Gooigi.
Luigi?
Yeah, he's like Luigi's gooey doppelganger.
Yeah.
He can slip through grates, walk on spikes, and solve puzzles that Luigi can't.
Right.
It adds a whole new layer to the gameplay, and it's hilarious to watch.
Yeah, I can imagine that leading to some pretty funny moments, especially if you and your partner have totally different approaches to puzzle solving.
Oh, for sure. You really have to communicate with each other. One of you might see a solution that the other totally misses. And let me tell you, controlling Luigi can be a little tricky sometimes. It's all part of the fun, though.
Yeah, it sounds like a good game for players of all skill levels, too. The more experienced player can kind of guide the way, and the less experienced player can just experiment with Luigi and have fun with those quirky controls.
Okay, now let's talk about a game that was designed specifically for co-op. It Takes Two. Have you had a chance to check this one out?
I have. It's such a beautiful game visually, and the whole premise is so unique. The way they blend all these different gameplay mechanics is amazing.
It really is one of those games that shines in co-op. You and your partner play as this couple that's been turned into dolls, and you have to work together to navigate this crazy, whimsical world.
What I really liked about It Takes Two is how well it balances both players' contributions. You know, it's not a game where one person feels like they're carrying the other. Every puzzle, every challenge requires both players to be actively involved.
Yeah, it's a testament to the power of collaborative gameplay. It's all about communication, compromise, and working together to achieve a common goal.
Oh.
And the story, while maybe a little cheesy at times, is surprisingly heartfelt.
It's true. It's a reminder that even when things are chaotic and you're disagreeing, there's always room for connection and understanding, especially when you're tiny dolls trying to save your relationship. Haha.
Exactly. Now let's travel back in time for a bit and talk about a puzzle game that's considered a true classic. Portal 2.
Portal 2, a game that's as clever as it is funny, and that co-op campaign is just as brilliant as the single-player mode.
Yes. Portal 2 is one of those games I can replay over and over again and still discover something new. The puzzles are so well designed, the writing is hilarious, and the co-op is a masterclass in teamwork and communication.
What's really interesting about Portal 2's co-op is that it forces you to think in a different way. You can't just solve the puzzles by yourself. You have to talk to your partner, coordinate your actions, and really trust each other. It's a real test of your spatial reasoning skills, too.
It's like a brain workout disguised as a hilarious video game. And even though it came out over a decade ago, Portal 2's gameplay and humor still hold up so well. It really shows you the power of good design.
And for anyone who wants an even bigger challenge, the PC version of Portal 2 has this huge modding community that creates custom maps.
Yeah, so the fun never really ends. You can spend hours and hours exploring those community-made puzzles and really pushing your co-op skills to the limit. You know, it's funny, we've talked about a lot of games that involve puzzles and strategy, but let's mix things up a bit and talk about a genre that's all about pure action, beat 'em ups. Are you ready to rumble?
Haha, let's do it. There's something so satisfying about a good beat 'em up. It's like this primal urge to just smash buttons and watch enemies fly across the screen.
And there's no better way to experience that button-mashing joy than with a friend by your side. So let's talk about Streets of Rage 4. It's a modern take on those classic beat-em-up games. Have you had a chance to play it?
Yeah, I have. I was really impressed with how they managed to capture the feel of those old arcade brawlers while still making it feel modern and polished.
Yeah, the hand-drawn animation is beautiful, the soundtrack is awesome, and the combat is so crunchy and satisfying. And it's perfect for co-op. You and a friend can team up to take down all those street thugs, unleashing crazy combos and special moves.
And while it's easy to pick up and play, there's actually a lot of depth to the combat system. You can learn new moves, experiment with different combos, and master the art of juggling enemies in the air.
It's a great game for a quick gaming session. You can jump in brawl for a bit and then move on with your day. But if you're looking for a beat 'em up that's maybe a little more accessible, there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. What are your thoughts on that one?
Oh, Shredder's Revenge is a blast from the past. It totally nails the charm and energy of those old TMNT arcade games. It's a little easier than Streets of Rage 4, but it still has that satisfying beat-em-up gameplay.
Yeah, it's a game that anyone can enjoy regardless of their age or skill level. And the pixel art is amazing. It's a real love letter to those classic TMNT games.
And don't forget about the soundtrack. Pure 90s nostalgia, guaranteed to get you tapping your feet.
Okay, for our final co-op contender, we're heading to a galaxy far, far away with LEGO Star Wars. The Skywalker Saga.
Oh man, LEGO Star Wars needs no introduction. It's such a beloved franchise known for its humor, charm, and accessibility. And the Skywalker Saga takes everything to a whole new level.
It's massive. It covers all 9 main Star Wars movies, each with its own levels, characters, and jokes. And of course, it wouldn't be LEGO Star Wars without a ton of collectibles to find.
Yeah, the main story missions are great, but I will say the side content can get a little repetitive after a while. But if you're just looking for a casual co-op experience, it's hard to beat the sheer amount of content in the Skywalker Saga.
Yeah, it's a game that any Star Wars fan can enjoy. And the co-op mode is so well integrated, you and a friend can seamlessly explore that galaxy far, far away together.
It's a good way to introduce someone to the Star Wars universe or just relive those classic moments with a friend.
All right, take a deep breath. We just journeyed through a whole galaxy of co-op gaming experiences. From whimsical platformers to challenging brawlers, we covered a lot of ground. So grab your controllers, gather your friends, and get ready for some awesome co-op action. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of couch co-op games. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a topic you care about. Until then, happy gaming.